I'm doing this video today. I've done so many since, Alexis Murphy, and there's a point in that she disappeared and supposedly was murdered here near Charlottesville, Roanoke, Virginia. Anyway, that's a year and a half ago, and I've been on Facebook, and a long, long time I've been telling about mind control murders done in patterns. It's the way that an agency, or now then a corporation, it's so advanced since I was telling about it, or since MK Ultra was brought before Congress actually in '53 for using mind control. Mind control can be used to frame a person, to modify their behavior, make them go out and kill, shoot, use a gun. It doesn't matter what it is, a knife. The point is that it's so advanced now, and maybe it was back then, that the agencies can actually program armies. And the one thing, too, I want to tell was, I'll go back to this. I had written a book. I put this on, not all of it maybe. It's hard to get it all on. I put this on about writing a medical malpractice book in '76 till '80, and I had antifreeze put in me and should have died. It was a living hell, and my whole life has been really. But that was April Fool's Day of '80. I had the antifreeze put in me. June the 23rd of '79, I had a letter from the U.S. Attorney, ongoing investigation, national security involved. It was William Harper, and it was signed by, there's his name on it, but it was signed by Assistant DA James Baker. Not the James Baker that worked for Reagan, etc. But anyway, he was Assistant U.S. Attorney. I had been in and out of FBI office down there many, many times. And I'm going to try to get this on this video, and I don't know. That was 1976 to '80 when I had the antifreeze put in me. I was illegally carried across the state line to Huntsville, Alabama, Madison County, and went to work. I had to pass a background check done by Sheriff Patterson, as required to work for the district attorney, Fred Simpson. So that was about May, after I'd had the antifreeze put in me, and I'm skipping all that happened there, too. I can't put it on here. But the point being, at this time, I passed a background check of all things. Well, let me say that I wrote in the medical malpractice book, one of the cases, it was MD, a license to kill, and Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th of '78, and the person that shot him was programmed to kill his attorney and shoot Mr. Flint. The synchronicity and the precision is so, you can't beat it. People think these are trained assassins or trained. This one, really, the training is, and they were programmed, and the precision and, like I say, synchronicity is right on. But anyway, Larry McDonald was one of them, a U.S. congressman, doctor I wrote about. And I wrote about the murders and that was in Cobb County, and Tom Sharon was the DA, and maybe he did all he could. Buddy Darden, the DA, when they were shot, and he prosecuted it, he ended up running against me in '83 to replace Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald. My point being that Warren and Rosina Matthews, there were others, were murdered, and it was prosecuted in Cobb County. And Larry McDonald, they worked at Piedmont Hospital, Warren and Rosina did, where a lot of murders happened that I was trying to write about, at least two I was writing about, and the doctors involved. And anyway, later when Larry, I'm trying to think, maybe I better read it here. I'm skipping all this. You can't. My life was an ongoing hell. I was going to police. I was going here and there trying to get help, and nobody would. So I was taken illegally across the state line to Huntsville, where I worked for the DA, and I lived at Warren House Apartments, and his last name's Simpson. So I've been talking about the murders being done in patterns, and the method is mind control. And when the Warren Commission, where I lived, the little apartment I had, it was like symbolic of the Warren Commission covered up the Kennedy. Mind control was used in that. It was used in the Martin Luther King. By the way, Martin Luther King, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know about my kidnapping. I found out in '83. And why all this really happened, not just the book I wrote that never got published, but Joe Kennedy was ambassador to England when I was kidnapped. He was appointed by Roosevelt, and he helped in my kidnapping. His sons were flying in there in '41. That's when I was kidnapped and from Buckingham Palace and brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin. I don't have those. I put it on. I just got papers and pictures from that family. It was a pigsty. I was so abused, it's unreal, that part of my life. What I wanted to say here was I wanted to go on with when I got in the campaign. I'd been on the street, my home taken, I'd had antifreeze, I had everything done to me. Didn't really know where my children were and what was happening to them. I was back in Atlanta, literally on the street, till the church paid for me a room at Bambi Rob's. Bambi's cryptic, too, as to where I ended up. But I'm not going to get this on here, and probably people don't even go to the next one if they watch this one. But anyway, Larry McDonald, that Dr. Congressman I wrote about, his plane went down, and that's also how mind control is used to take down planes. Plane he was on, August 31st of '83, that was shot down by the Soviets. It veered off course into Russian airspace. Well, that's what you can do with mind control. You can put the pilot, or you can put controllers or people who work on the plane and make things happen, make it go down the ocean side of the mountain. But the point is, I was flown out to Larry Flint's during that campaign. I became a candidate in September, October of '83. Because Mr. Flint had been shot, I'd never met him, but he flew me out there to help me in the campaign. And mind control was part of his shooting. So I was flown out there twice, and when I got back the first time, then I was going out there the second time, and I thought I was going out there to work for him, and I thought, well, maybe all this is going to be told, the crimes, because he had Rebel magazine that was totally devoted to crimes, and he was telling about Bloomingdale tapes, and part of this goes back to some information I know. So that's what I thought he meant, go to work for him. So anyway, I went out and he leased me a car. Nothing was said, though, really about going to work for him. That was said in the paper or something. But it was never mentioned. They were busy, it was this and that, and I talked to him. But anyway, I was flown back that last time, and the car was waiting on me. But here's what Hawkins' employment, if I can get this on here before it goes off, I had worked for them while I had this little campaign going, and that campaign headquarters, if you call one room a campaign headquarters, I'd been living on the street, and I started living in there at night. They told me, Hawkins, he had sent me out to Lovell or Lovett School, and that's where I was supposed to meet. A coach was using me temporary to Chad and Jens Orings. And this is a mind control murder later in Grottoes when I've got a hustler car and I'm pumping gas. And he's, they're in Charlottesville, he is. German diplomat's son at this time. Well, there were shootings there last of April, or 1st of April of '85, and not shootings, excuse me, I'm trying to get this on and it's not going. It was a butcher knife used. They're in prison. He's in Buckingham State Prison, Dilwell, Virginia, and